Buenos tardes. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Streamyard is trying a thing, but Streamyard hasn't done it right at all. They're trying to post the comments on the screen, but they don't do a good job of doing it. It's not prominent. I don't know why they do it this way. So maybe I'll take it off. Can you guys see the comments on the screen? Bless up Dean Fraser. Bless up Drew Ross. How you doing? Chorus. Jeremiah was here earlier. How's everyone doing? Let me know if you can see the comments on the screen. Or do I just take them down because they're not adding any value? It's kind of a sad the way they hit it. Yeah, and good reminder, I'm Dean Fraser. So people should know their duties as they come in the chat. Bless up Texicon, Paul Watkins, J. Ross. Local media is lacking the media literacy. We'll beat them today. No, we have to beat them today because it's my understanding that the traditional media, you know, I'm going to take off my hat. I'm going to go rogue today. I'm going to go ball it today. I'm going to ball it today. Take off my hat. Yeah. It's my understanding that that traditional media has zero respect for YouTubers. Now, I will admit that on both sides, obviously there are some challenges, whether it's traditional media or new media, as we call YouTubers and other platforms as part of the whole social media landscape. But you can't put everybody in the same basket, right? It's unfair. And the elitist mentality exuded by traditional media in Jamaica is not warranted. Because every time I see them in certain forums, certain environment, and how they operate, the same people they're criticizing and denigrating and belittling and disparaging, same people, they're not even as good as some of those people. Seriously. They can't even walk in their shoes. So it's a little bit, and they supposedly they went to university and they got their degree and they know the protocols and the standard of what good journalism is. They're not exhibiting it. That and we'll go through that video, which I find interesting, because it doesn't bode well for the media as it relates to their perception of YouTubers and of themselves, and the fact that it doesn't, what they do doesn't reflect well on them. But thanks everyone for being here. J. Ross saying, but to me, it makes McLaren look worse because why did you include 25 of the players you think are not intelligent enough to in it? Yeah. You know what? We're going to get into all of that. When I get to that, best of float manager, when I get to that section of the program, because we have nothing to talk about now. We have the press conference with kickoff where he talked about Michael Antonio and others, right? Maybe coming to the squad. We have the lack of Ravel in the team. We have the Mason Greenwood situation. I have here the lack of a technical, and I can only do this because I told you I'm not doing any show more than an hour and 50 minutes, 2 hours. I'm stop doing that. Too long, and the benefits not worth it. So I'm not gonna do it. And I appreciate all the people who are in my channel. I'll come to my channel. I can't do that no more. Tiresome. And when the day is so long, boy, it's challenging. And plus, people come in, they not even want to hit the like button. Them feel so why them do you a favor. And some come. We just get information and go about their business. May I call them out? And they will never hit the like button. They're dead first. And some of them subscribe and then them unsubscribe. But I feel them business. We don't really care. But the point I'm trying to make is this, is that, and I've said this before, you know, when them come in the term, you know, them the old term, none of them still have Jamaica. So they are ginal. That means you're a trickster. That means you're a con man. McLaren is exhibiting some of those attributes, you know, and we'll talk through that to substantiate my position on that. Because as I saw, you know, and I beat my nephew today because, you know, I said, you know what? He doesn't really follow Jamaican football that much, even though he plays a little bit. And I sat him down and I said, listen to this video and then tell me what he says. And he listened to it, but then he was saying, yeah, he's in Jamaican football. And he said the word few. I'm like, what does few mean? And he started arguing with me about this, but we'll get into it. I don't want to get into it. I want people to come into the chat first before I start getting to the details of all of this. We'll go through all of that, Radman, and know yourself. We probably won't go over the 60-man squad again as much. There's a press conference on Thursday. unfortunately, I didn't go to the press conference today, and unfortunately, I think I'm going to be in a plane. I'll be in a plane on Thursday going someplace. So we'll see that work out if I get a chance to call in and probably ask a few questions, because I do have some questions. But let's start out with what do I want to start with? So Streamyard doesn't have the concept of posting your agenda on the screen, which is I tell them they need to do that. Like they're trying to do a beta now for comments. But when do I want to start? When I want to start with McLaren press conference, you want to start with the TVJ. No, I run the show today now. You want to start with the TVJ video. You want to start with talking about the lack of technical directors of Jamaica football. You want to start with Ravel. You want to start with Mason Greenwood. What do I want to start with? I mean, no. List your order of sequence of prioritization for the list. I want to start with TVJ. I will start with TVJ. All right. So the TVJ thing, which is probably the most interesting one. I'm going to play it, but I'm going to stop it quite a bit as it goes, right? I'm going to stop it quite a bit as it goes. So this is the TVJ one, people.
Roster included 24 players from the Jamaica Premier League. McLaren, who was present at Sunday's second leg semi-finals at Sabina Park, had high praises for the local league.
What I love about Jamaican football.
So first thing you jot down, I'm jot down myself. The moderator or commentator said he had high praises, right? He had high praises for JPL players. You know, let me do this. I make sure I take notes, like, or not take notes, you know. TVJ and McLaren. So we'll do it this way. All right. So the first one is commentator says high praise for JPL players. I mean, if I hear him say that, but anyway, so him say, keep going.
The JPL, all the players, their attitude, their enthusiasm, their love, competitiveness, they just never stop running.
So here what he says. All right. Attributes, JPL player attributes. We gotta focus on the things, people. Their running ability, attitude. What does him say? I'll go back now. So attitude, running ability, continuity in terms of never say die. Yeah, well, I have to write them down. We'll go over them.
According to McLaren, there is one factor that separates the local players from the ones overseas.
We'll go back. It's all about education.
No, what the hell did I do here? Sorry, people. I have to go back. I have to go back. I know I miss nothing. Oh, why aren't you playing now? See, Kranky, you don't mess up the thing in a Kranky. I'll remove it and start over. We'll start over. And now we now play a terror. What did I do? Damn, I have no idea what I did. It's not playing. All right, I've got to fix this, people. Let me try to figure out what I did. That's wrong, but I want to make sure we dissect this really well. No, it says it's not. See, this is, I don't understand why it's not playing. Maybe I deserve that, actually. Try beat them on. It's not playing, people. I have caused a major issue here. No matter. I'm going to take it down and put it back up, actually. So let me do this. McClaren.
A number of players in the Jamaica Premier League have caught the eyes of national head coach Steve McClaren ahead of the Reggae Boys' next assignments.
He said players have caught the eye, right? A number of players have caught the eye. We have to go through this. This is a reaction video, people. If we do it well. Says players have caught the eye. Let's see if throughout this, he mentioned any players that have caught his eye. All right.
On Monday, CONCACAF released the preliminary squads for teams taking part in the 2025 CONCACAF Gold Cup. Jamaica's 60-man roster included 24 players from the Jamaica Premier League. McLaren, who was present at Sunday's second leg semi-finals at Sabina Park, had high praises for the local league.
What I love about Jamaican football, the JPL, all the players, their attitude, their enthusiasm, their love, competitiveness. They just never stop running.
According to McLaren, there is one factor that separates the local players from the ones overseas.
What I see is it's all about education. So what you get in the UK and Europe is you get education. You get education from 6, 7 years old. You know? So you get taught how to dribble, how to play 1 against 1, and then you play 3 against 3. You learn how to pass and move, and then you develop to 7v7, and then you develop to 11v11, and you are taught, and it's like being in a classroom. It's a subject.
With an increase in the number of coaches attaining regional and international certification, McClaren says the nation will reap the benefits in the forthcoming years.
Jamaica is on the right lines. It will take a few years. In England, we started it, I think, 15 years ago, academies, and we got the benefit after about 10 years. Yeah? Belgium was the same. They did it, put a program together, and in 10 years, they got the benefits and became #1 in the world. Same with England. So things need to be put in place, like Mr. Speed is doing, like Mount Pleasant is doing with the academy. But you won't get the benefits until another 10 years.
McLaren says the final Gold Cup squad will be named on Thursday. Daniel McLeod, TVJ Sports.
All right. Where do I start? So let's go back over this. Let me see some of your comments first, because I had to shake my head when I saw this. Mr. Elm says the coach dissed the local league and the media don't even realize it. Yep. That's the summary. Know Yourself says, watch XYZ. Man, probably think him the biggest coach ever. Oh, he's there. Whoever made the TV headline needs education too. McLaren basically complimented the players' efforts and this their technicality. It's like calling NBA player glue guy or enforcer or not skilled. Unity Cup squad, not the Gold Cup. So if you go back through the conversation, right, you'll realize that he talked about, when you talk about, hey, this player work hard. Somebody say, well, you work hard, never say that to do. Somebody can say, you know what? You ask somebody about somebody, a student, for example. And you know what? XYZ studies hard. He's always doing his homework. He do them on time. You never say anything about the most important thing, which is the person's intellect, their thought process, their acumen. That never comes in the conversation, which is the most important attribute you need to have. And then he doubled down on that. First of all, he said it's going to take Jamaica a few years. Now, go look in your dictionary. I'll go look on Google what few means. If you say a few years, it's always something between 2 and 4 years. You could even say 5 is few. Between 2 and 4, that's a few. Or less than 4 is few. And then he went on to say what Belgium and England did, which was 10 to 15-year journey, right? If you are Kranky, if you are President Ricketts, if you are Dennis Chung, we ain't got that time to be hoping in 10, 15 years we get someplace. We're sorry, we don't. Let's hear me talk about short-term, mid-term, and long-term plan. We don't have that time, people. We're not talking about. Huh? Few normally is a couple, they can you. But if you actually go and Google and look it up, because I actually went to look it up today and I said to myself, oh, they might talk about few and then talk about 10 years. That makes no sense. So my man they've arguing what few means because he thinks few is a higher number. And I told him, no. Normally people say few or couple. Them say 2, but it can stretch to 4. 4 is the maximum we can think. But the man say few years. And then the man say 10 years, people. he talked about the athleticism, but when people talk about athleticism, they must say you don't have the brain, It's a camouflage for that. Now, the headline by TVJ is either disingenuous, lack of acumen about deciphering information. It's really, really bad, actually. It's really, really bad. Really, really bad. The fact that they say he complimented the player, that's basically what they're saying. He's impressed by the man. Don't say not but impressed by no player. You don't mention one player and impressed by no player. First of all, when McLaren said he needed about 6 players when he lost to the US, it told you everything about either he didn't know the players or he's saying what I've seen so far are not good. Have you thought about this? Maybe McLaren doesn't go to Jamaica because he already made up his mind. There's nobody down there. He's recruiting hard in England. Maybe he's saying, and people are realizing that, why am I spending time in Jamaica to do? I'm here to go to the World Cup. I need to get the players, and none of the players here can get the World Cup. So when TVJ talks about 24 in the 60-man squad, please, that don't matter. The 23 matter. Not even 26, 23 matter. It is sad for TVJ to do what they did and say what they did. It's sad. Really sad. I cannot believe they did that. No, it says Kranky. We found out a calculator and calculus in this World Cup cycle. Yeah, it's disappointing. Right? It's disappointing. There is zero chance. He already made his mind up. He knows what he knows. He'll bring some players to the Unity Cup, but frankly, the focus is not on them. He's seen them play. But what he's saying is that, which is as damning as it gets, 2 things. One is the players are not being coached well, is my inference. And 2 is the players are not good technically. Now, one can say it's the holistic program, which is educated about football. The educational component is not there. That's what he's saying. But he's also saying, in my view, if you break it down, that the quality is not there. It's not even technical. The quality, which incorporates technical, is not there. The quality is not there. They are physical. They can run up and down, but they're track stars. They're not footballers. That's as damning as it gets, people. But McClaren is also very disingenuous in a lot of ways, actually. He is. When he says Jamaica is only a few years away, then he goes to talk about England and Belgium. And then he talks about what the program that's in place. Let me say something to you. I'm going to give you an analogy, people. This is very important, okay? Let's say in high school in Jamaica, would you say the high school curriculum in Jamaica is the same across the board? Would you say that? Am I mistaken? Say the high school curriculum across Jamaica, no matter where you reside in Jamaica, in terms of the conceptual curriculum, would we say that's similar across Jamaica? I'm going to wait for an answer. You guys tell me if it's similar. Yeah, and he did this them. He did them big time. In fact, he did them so bad, and the fact that TVJ picked it up, no, gonna say it's not. Now, what do you mean, gonna say it's not? So what I mean the curriculum meaning, and each grade, isn't there, you can take different subjects in different grades, right? But conceptually, if you're going to do physics, don't use the same textbook, basically. Don't use the same textbook if you use physics. Are you do bio? Are you do chemistry? Don't you normally have access to the same textbook? Now, the schools may decide that they want to do things a little bit differently, but don't they have access to the same textbooks? Me curious. And the point I'm trying to make is this, because you guys think about curriculum and the concept of schools may decide what to teach and not to teach X, Y, Z, whatever, and whatever you want to major in. I'm talking about in college, for example, here, if you're going to do accounting, you have access to the same textbook. Now, the way the school may structure the teachings and the program and the quality of the teachers sometimes determines how well the outcome is and the results are. Right. They may not get the same subject, but I'm saying if you want to take a subject in a school, you're going to go to the school that gives that subject, right? Here's the point I'm trying to make. If you look at the passing grades for like Trenchtown Comprehensive, no, don't beat me if you go Trenchtown and say an Immaculate or a Mobay High or Mount Alverna, for example, and look at their passing, even though the textbook they have access to and the subject they have access to should be similar, you would ask, what's the difference? Now, you may say at the recruiting level, When you pass the common entrance at a certain level, they make selective. So early in the process, there's a selection process. And then subsequently, the quality of the teachers inform how well you may do. Right? Here's the point. When you start talking about the coaching and what's been done by the JFF, my first question is, and I posed it to somebody who's very informed today, big coach, let me post it to them. I'm sure I shouldn't do that to them, and they disagree with me. It depends on who is teaching you. So when we laud in Trinidad and Jamaica for increasing the coaching education and improving the coaching, getting them different license and whatever, that's a good thing. They should be lauded. But my question is the quality of the instructors there to ensure we're producing quality coaches? And is the acumen of the coaches there who go into the program for them to digest the material well and be able to relate to their students or the young footballers? Those are imperatives, people. So one thing we say, you have a coaching program and you beat your test and we coach, we give out 100 D license. But were those quality D license or just quantity D license? And I don't think we have done enough scrutiny and self-reflection and exhibit enough skepticism to say whether or not things work as they should. We don't. In Jamaica, we don't. Not as well we should. We don't challenge. So, for example, in the technical committee area or technical director area, when we fail, nobody lose their job, nobody get reprimanded, at least not we know of. None of that occurs. So we allow mediocrity to grow and to increase. And then we have somebody come from overseas, somebody be coach for the national team and say, no, can't play football. That's player language, no, can't play football. And then we have people that talk about, oh, this person should be in the national team. And why is this person in the national team? And A should be in the team. And they fight them a fight A and a fight B. And there should be no overseas players in the team. And somebody just come who has a lot of experience overseas, was my choice to be coach, I'll be honest, and say, no, can't play football. The man walk up basic. The man start talking about how you pass the ball and how you move from 3 aside and 5 aside like infantile something. The man is telling you that all the people that run up and down, they're not playing quality football. And the people there in the media who say YouTubers not nonsense and YouTubers are whatever. And I know this is a fact. Trust me, this is a fact. I know. Can I work on something now? And I realize YouTubers, the traditional media don't even want to be around YouTubers, people. They don't even want to be around YouTubers. They think we are toxic, we don't have no sense, appear moron in the industry. They don't want to be around us. Not the same in the US, to be honest. There's a whole spectrum of YouTubers in the US, and so in Jamaica, but I think in the US, some people have a lot of credibility, some people don't. In Jamaica, they put us all in the same bucket and say, oh, no, have no sense. Go ahead. Really interesting. Gonna say them. I'm not gonna say them bad mind. I'm not gonna say them bad mind. It's just that I think it's that elitism perspective. They're very elitist in their view. Bless up, Chris, and they think a certain way about certain things, and they believe that because they went to some kind of university and they got tertiary education and they got what they call formal education, therefore they know it all. And then when you see them, so that's theory. When they go in practice and are executing, and you see headline like this, you're just like, this is unbelievable. And for you to put that up, that also means that your editor and your organization allow this to go because somebody has to review it before they put it out public. It's amazing that happened. It's disconcerting, actually. Not only amazing, disconcerting. Because it hurts them that they had to go to school for their platform. We built ours. Well, but I think it's more of a superiority complex, actually. I don't even think I think it may be some of that gunners, but I think it's a superiority complex. Some people like to look down on other people. The superiority complex. But the complex is actually not warranted. Sometimes those complexes, you could say, have some credence and credibility to it. It's not warranted, trust me. It's not warranted. Man, so the attributes we think are important to be a good footballer in Jamaica is not what it's supposed to be. Yeah, I don't know that what they did is shocking. Actually, it's shocking. Seriously, people, it's shocking. If someone in their right mind, they should just take it down and say, no, we should retract the statement. The man said nothing about quality of football. He said nothing about impressed with the JV. If you think what he said was in being impressed with the footballers, the man throw out some little crumbs to you. So you can't run fast, you're competitive, you have no attitude. The man tell you things what any single person who do any single job should have, if they really are professional in what they're doing. The man says nothing about your quality, nothing about your ability, nothing about your brain. In fact, he doubled down on that when he went the other way. Now, I know I have a long list of things to talk about, but this is concerning that this actually transpired the way it did. And it was from one of the major media houses. It's sad, actually. Sad. But anyway, these things happen. The coach did have a conversation to them. I'll play that video also. But my point on this is this. For those of you in Jamaica, because the coach, look, I understand where the coach sits, right? The coach has to play politics. And some of you guys are like, oh, the coach should just do things. That's not how it works in the real world. He has to play some politics. But he can be more transparent in managing that political hot seat he sits in. You guys want to call it diplomat. He's not a diplomat. He doesn't come across as a diplomat. But he tries really hard. What people say come across as a gino and disingenuous and not being truthful, frankly. Because when you say two things that are diametrically opposite in two different sentences, you don't put you in the same light. You don't put you in a good light, I should say. I don't know if they put a narrative out for local players or they just don't understand what is being said, or they just don't understand what they're doing. Right? I don't know if they don't know what they're doing. And the worst thing about it, he said with a smile on his face too. He liked to give that smile to suck you in. I don't know why I get so negative on McLaren sometimes. I just don't. Hogginson, maybe he didn't have the same sophistication, but he was a much more, to me, genuine, straightforward coach. And you know, McLaren has to praise the person who hired him, which is obvious, actually. He has to praise the person who hired him. And frankly, the JFF needs help, people. I'm sorry. Hey, JFF, I'll be straight. You need help. You need a lot of help. Like tons of help. You're going on the wrong path in a lot of ways. And with Dennis Chung leaving, I am getting more pessimistic. At some point, I'm going to stop covering Reggae Boys football because it's getting to the point of just, it's not tolerable anymore. Right? It's not tolerable. People, as I said before, Dennis Chung, Kranky, Conflicts boss, the president, we don't have no 15 years. If you go about Jamaica, get good. We don't have 15 years. We might talk about 10, 15 years. We don't have it. We don't have it. We don't have the 10, 15 years we might talk about. If we say, why Jamaica get good enough football and be sustainable good. You know how much World Cup that is? 2026? That's about 2040 World Cup, you know. When 2026 or 14 years, a 2040 World Cup that. What we are talking about? Huh? 2040 World Cup people. No fun now, like me. Can watch me demographics, I mean, people watch my channel. No fun now, they don't run for no 2040 World Cup. So we go wait till 2040 because some good football Jamaica play. Because we're forcing a quota system across all the different teams, less so in the senior team, because we want to give local football a chance. But the chance they're not getting is we're not giving them the chance. The JFF and those in Jamaica who control football are not giving the players a chance. You know they're not giving them a chance? They're not going out and getting the people with the requisite skill set to come and provide the guidance from the kids from their just out the cradle to when they go get to a certain level so they can develop the skill sets needed to compete on a global basis. They're not. And because some people want to have their position and beat their chest about how they have this big position and they don't realize that they're part of the problem, that's the problem. The people who don't realize that they're the problem, because they like looking at me around beat them chest, it's about them, and don't realize that they're the one don't have the skill set for the program to advance and improve. They don't know what good looks like. They live in their little bubble, in their little world where they're the greatest things in sliced bread. And their eyes have not been open to reality that, you know what? Maybe we don't know maybe what we think we know is not what needs to be known. What we need to impart is not being imparted. Imagine if you talk about another topic tonight. Can me get vexed? The more I read that thing, let me just get vexed with the whole thing. 2-minute video. And we have a major TV station that provide information which is either false, misleading, whatever. It's not correct. Incorrect information. In fact, it's misleading information. We have to be careful what we say. Nobody's so weak, but it's misleading. If you infer what the man says, he praised them in terms of the athleticism. He talks about the quality, which is labeled under a whole bunch of other stuff, education and all those different things, which is what we talk about football. We talk about Partey from Arsenal, for example. We talk about how his brain is a computer and how he thinks football. When we talk about Cephas, we talk about you got to make better decisions. Anyway, let me move on, people. It is disconcerting. It is frustrating. It should not be this way. I'm going to say moreover, Jamaica don't have the resources like Belgium. Well, look, I would agree. We don't have the resources, which may mean instead of 10 to 15 years, it's like 30 years. We're talking about the football forever stuff. It's no longer this resource constraint we got to focus on. We got to focus on what exactly are we doing. Because if you look at, somebody sent me something the other day about a program they have in Ghana, where there's always some Europeans anyway, is putting together, they have these academies in Ghana, which churn out a ton of footballers. Good footballers in the Premier League, for example. And that concept is one that wants to employ or deploy, right? I've always said, why Jamaica try to build an alliance with a Barcelona, for example, leverage people who are in senior positions in Jamaica to maybe be able to get that access and then pull everything from how they think, because they're great in terms of the academy. Unlike Real Madrid, who just buy ready-made players, you really hear Madrid produce. You would think Madrid didn't have an academy. Barcelona seemed to produce from the Iniestas to the from way back when with Iniesta, the Messi of the world, to now the Gavis and the Pedris and the Yamals of the world. It's amazing what they produce, right? World-class footballers. And the question is, can we leverage some of that? Can we get access? Can we get some know-how? You hear me talk about the Spain strategic plan to help inform what we need to do. Because the people in Jamaica who are running the programs and have a high regard for themselves, and they can feel all they want, to me, are part of the problem. Not part of the problem. It's amazing, people. But anyway, that's a big sigh. Bless up, man of God. That's a very big sigh for a lot of frustration. I think the people in Jamaica, look, if you're in Jamaica, you're watching schoolboy football, you're watching JPL, and you see some man scoring enough goal and beating up, and you say, this is a very good player. But the point you're missing in your assessment of the player and their capability is that they're playing against players of similar ilk. And when you're comparing them to players, and people in Jamaica watch the highest level of football now, and yet some of them still convinced that local players are good enough because they're playing against similar players, and so they look good. And when they matriculate and they go overseas and play against players who are better quality, then their flaws and their deficiencies have shown up. And we can't seem to realize that the coaching has to be better. And the coaching is holistic. It's not just your technical skill. It's your mental acumen. It's how you think football. It's how you live. It's how you operate. It's not just, oh, I go play some football and X, Y, Z. And he's right. Maybe what Mount Pleasant is doing will help at some point on the road. But it needs to be something that's pervasive across the island. Can't just be in one pocket and send and someplace. And I'm very concerned whether the coaching, even though we're going through more formal coaching now, you hear me beat the Trinidad situation, because Trinidad not good at football. Trinidad stopped being good at football a long time ago. So why are we leveraging them for coaching? Why are we going to someplace else where the coaching, because look at Spain, for example. You can see their coaching program works. Because in terms of percentage, most of the coaches in the EPL are from Spain. They export coaches like how other people France export footballers. But anyway, I'm gonna move on. Monica said the coach needs to go. I don't think the coach needs to go, but he's only here for one thing, right? He said that numerous times. The one thing I like, though, is this. It's getting to the point where he realized his legacy is going to be affected, and he's only going to focus on the players who can get him over the line. People, 180 of you, I mean, only have 87 likes. I'm not tired for hearing my mouth. Huh? How many times are you all going to blame the coach? You're not blaming the coach. We're saying what the coach has said. This is not blaming the coach. We're talking about what TVJ has said and what the coach has said. But what the coach basically says is that the local players are not at the level required for them to perform in the environment they need to perform in. That's what he basically said. By the way, people, we can't talk about the coach needs to go because the coach is not going anywhere. Coach is here until 2026. One coach already fired us, so we don't fire no other coach. Kranky, you always complaining. What are you doing to improve the problem? What do you mean, what am I doing? What can I do except being on this program and providing a perspective and pointing out what works and what doesn't work? One thing you don't think about, Clive Gordon, because you guys get sensitive when we talk about deficiencies and what doesn't work. I give people flowers when flowers are due. I gave Dennis Chung a lot of flowers the other day, but also beat the technical part of the construct because the technical part doesn't work. So Clive Gordon, I don't know who you are, but go check my record. I give flowers when flowers are due, and I provide developmental needs, or you want to call it criticism or deficiencies. So some people don't like YouTube, because YouTube called like it is. YouTube no conflicted. Most people in YouTube, I wouldn't say everyone, but most of the people in YouTube are not conflicted, so they're going to call it like it is. Bless up, Melshire. Thanks for joining. I don't understand why people take it personal when you call out facts. You guys, look, let me just say this to you guys. I want to push back on Kranky when he says certain things. And I have no problem you pushing back. So when you pushing back is, I'm going to do like Maverick does. Anybody who say anything that's contrary to me is nonsense meter. I'm going to get the nonsense meter. I'm going to do that. We'll do that. Look at the nonsense meter. Come Maverick never wrong it, Come Maverick don't get the nonsense meter, and I'm always right. So I'll give everybody the nonsense meter. I'm just kidding. I don't operate like that. I think that's nonsense actually to do it that way. But Clive Gordon, I'm not sure who you are, Clive. You have a perspective. You ask me what I can do. First of all, Clive, you guys got to understand this. Let me make it clear. Take Kranky out the mix. I'm not jumping about it. Take Kranky out the mix. Jamaica, the country, has a lot of restrictions about who can do what role in Jamaica. If you want to be in Jamaica government, if you want to be in the JFF and other organizations, they have periods of time that you need to live in Jamaica to be able to be involved in those organizations. Jamaica is not like a Mexico, for example, where you can vote in local election if you're a citizen and you live overseas. Jamaica don't allow that. If you go to the PICA site, it talks about you being a citizen and that you can vote. PICA, you need to change this. Tell the audience, PICA, you can only vote if you live in Jamaica, because it doesn't say that on the PICA site. It basically, if you go look at the PICA site, people, the passport and immigration citizenship site, it talks about if you have Jamaican citizenship, you can vote. You can only vote if you live at Jamaica. You can't vote. We can't vote in the Jamaica election. You don't have citizenship. Not happening. If you want to be in the JFF, you got to be on the island for 10 years, because they restricted purposely to only those who are on the island. Part of it is so some people can keep their jobs. It's a lifetime employment in the JFF. So when people like Clive Gordon want to come, I wouldn't say you're attacking me, Clive, but you're saying, rightly so, why you are the Kranky? You run your mouth, why you are. Fair question. If I want to do anything, I couldn't, because I don't live in Jamaica. And there are a lot of people who are much more capable than I am, much more competent than I am, much more intelligent than I am, much more informed than I am, who would love to do some capacity in Jamaica, and they can. You hear me ask Erwin Clear the other day, who run Team Jamaica Bickles and also run an immigration service, and a person who's well known in the Jamaican community and always get interviewed on TVJ and all those forums. He basically said, and I'll paraphrase what he says, they want your money, they don't want you. So they want remittances, but they want you to just go away after you get them money. So when people like Clive Gordon ask a question, it must be a rhetorical question, because we overseas can't do anything. Bless up Mela sound system. Yeah, Mr. Galaxy. John Wall did speak the truth about schoolboy football, but then he got fired for speaking the truth. You feel like, when we deal with the JFF, not everybody in the JFF, let's be frank about that. As I said before, I like the president very much so, even though I think he can do a much better job. Dennis Chung been doing a fantastic job in my view. I don't have every information about what he's done, but from what I see, from where I sit, fantastic job. Simon in the media doing a good job. The person who's been hired to do marketing, if I see all the people we're bringing on board, and she has to get some credit for that, really good job. The one area of the JFF, one of the most important, maybe the most important area, well, finance is important, which is the technical side, which is how you develop the football. It's failing miserably. Now, there may be some incremental improvement in terms of coaching here and there, but even that going to take a while to see material results. You hear the coach talk about 10, 15 years. Right. You think, no, sir. Me have to bring out them thing right away. 10, 15 years is a long time for me. Somehow, 10, 15 years is a drop in the bucket for me. It's like a whole lifetime. Me not have them time. You see me grew up. You see me grew up. That means my time here short. Me want to enjoy my football. Me want to enjoy my football, people. Me don't want this thing when we talk about 10, 15 years. Me not that. Now, 15 years, 10, 15 years is a long-term thing. We got to be a short-term, mid-term, or medium-term, and long-term goal. The medium-term goal, if you see some results for the medium-term goal, a long-term thing. Okay, Clive, I get it. Hey, Clive, let me say this, Clive. You're right, Clive. But you, Clive, my blood pressure go up quickly. Trust me, go up quickly. You don't take nothing to go up. But never give me a hard time about that. Say, Uncle, why you go from 0 to 100 so quickly? So that's not necessarily a press conference, but you're right. It is true, Clive. But here's the thing, Clive. A lot of people would love to help in a lot of ways. Well, there are people who help, like Devon Porter, for example. You know what, people? I'm going to talk with the other topic them tonight. I'm getting at this real hard. Crap got to change. Devon Porter, who is not hired by the JFF, not recognized by the JFF, given no credit by the JFF, especially people in the technical area, is Jamaica's best recruiter. Now, please, how that makes sense to me. Devon Porter, who the JFF don't want to touch with a 10-foot pole, but has some other access we can't talk about. Devon Porter, who is Jamaica's best recruiter by a country mile for years, and him get fight from the JFF. The JFF want nothing to do with Devon. Part of their rationale probably is that, you know what? If Devon is successful, that means local players can get in the team. But the coaches, Al Gibson come here, John Wall come here. Wait, why don't we listen to the coaches who we're hiring to oversee our football and to run our football? They're telling us local players are not good enough. So why aren't we doing something about that? And why aren't they doing something about that? My understanding was Hal Grimson's objective was to make sure that when he left Jamaica, Jamaica can qualify for the next 3, 4, 5 World Cup and more sustainable programs. That's what he was trying to do. He wanted to put programs and processes and standards in place for continuity and for sustainability as relates to the football. He wanted to do that. But after a while, he couldn't deal with the nonsense and left. Right? He couldn't deal with the nonsense and left. That's tragic. That's tragic. And even Dennis Chung, I don't know why Dennis is leaving. I can't say I know why Dennis is leaving. But even Dennis Chung going, the man did for 3 years. No, here's what you should think about people. We'll never put some pressure on the JFF people. The YouTubers alone can't do it because YouTubers get bad name all the time. And I think most YouTubers love if you watch YouTubers and how they watch the football, they love the football. They may not all deliver the message in the way it should be delivered, including yours truly sometimes. But they love the football and they love Jamaica and they want the football for progress and they want to feel good because all of us, as fans, we're selfish, We want the team to do well because we want to feel good about the team. I can call that selfish, right? We want a team to maximize its ability. We want a team to win every game because we want to enjoy Jamaica and beat each other so we're good. That's what we want to do. That's what fans want. And so therefore, if the team is not performing well and the long-term projection for the team as related to local players doesn't look rosy, that's a concerning. So Mark is saying, nowadays I watch Jamaica and expect the worst. Stop setting up myself up for disappointment. The same players I have no hope to burn out. No, I think it's going to get better though. before it gets worse. Chris says, Angerson didn't want to select King. Go back, look at the interview when he said King should stay in Iceland and the team and game people act. Yeah, Algrimson had, look, Algrimson, I was mad at Algrimson because of some of the things that he said, especially about Greenwood, because I don't think he was truthful. But I think he had his first objective was to get us to be impenetrable defensively and then figure out what to do offensively. Obviously, he decided to leave before his time because he couldn't work with the administration. Here's the one theme that we have to understand. This is people. We are now in our societies, whether in the US or Jamaica, living in alternate worlds. Follow me on this. In the US, Trump's lying has become standardized. His misbehavior is being standardized. He's going to give the rioters reparation or compensation. Lord help us. So if you do bad, you get rewarded. In Jamaica, we have fired about 4 or 5 coaches, not for performance reasons. So people like Donaldson and Algrimson and John Wall and others who want to progress the program seem to have some attributes that we admire and will help us progress, all got fired. Or as we say, we didn't renew their contract, even though Algrimson divorced us, right? Dennis Chung, who came in 3 years ago, after the debacle with Dalton went, and when we had anarchy in the team, and we had a mutiny, only been here 3 years, he's leaving. But Dennis is a well-known person in Jamaica circles, was run big corporations, is on all the boards of every company in Jamaica, and who was doing a lot of things behind the scenes, working with the fan club, helping to improve the finances, was asked by the president to come and join. He's supposedly leaving soon, but he's been here 3 years, right? I don't know who they're going to replace him. But the people who are in certain seats on the board, for example, or in the technical area, they have been here forever. We had one person who was here for about 20 years. Why name Raymond? And he could name one accomplishment we have, and he want to run the president at JFF. I am flabbergasted. I am frustrated. I am flabbergasted. I am bewildered as to how the people who don't produce and don't perform are the ones retained by the organization. It's almost as if they need to have a consulting firm come in and do a top to bottom. Hey, Dennis, you should recommend that, Dennis, if you ever watch my program and listening. Top to bottom assessment of the organization and figure out what needs to be done to change it. It has to change. We're giving credit to the finance area, but Dennis is leaving. He's the one who put standard. He's the one who said, you know what, you can't come to work 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Your job, see if you come to work 9 o'clock. He said, went to the office at 11 and there's nobody there. And we're going to go back to the same thing we were before if we allow this to happen. If people come complain about Kranky program, about Kranky, yeah, I was a criticism, Kranky into this. Yes, because we call out nonsense. It's not okay. And then the traditional media, who has no respect for YouTubers, including people like Maverick and all of them. Maverick talked about 2 sides of them out. One time saying now go press conference because YouTubers they dominate the conference, and then next time I talk about so the traditional media fight YouTubers. Man talk around in a circle and talk himself in a nonsense. And then we see TVJ put up some description here about how coach what the coach do up with players, so much players, what the coach impressed with players. And the coach said they need teaching, they need learning, they don't have the fundamentals. People, please hit the like button, people. We're at 120 and we're about almost 200 people in the chat. Hit the like button, people. Come on. Hit the like button. More other people watch the program, especially JFF people. Okay, if it go viral, then we watch it, you know. Okay, you know, so they might have to find a way to be. They will watch it. So please hit the like button, people. So yeah, I'm not gonna stay on this much longer except to say this because I hold my program. I don't do 2-hour programs anymore. I do about an hour and 45 minutes, hour and 30 minutes. I might never want to watch the game between Oklahoma and Minnesota with me. So, you know, family is an imperative for me. It's important. So let me go on to another topic, actually. Which guys do you want to go to? Do we go to this press conference? Do we go to Greenwood? Do we go to Ravel? What do you guys want to do? I'm going to let you guys run the program this evening. I'm just a talk. I'm just going to talk, people. Don't tell me what to talk about. I only have I was going to do the technical part, but I'm going to see that for another day. the whole technical thing, we'll break that down. We'll do Ravel. All right, let's do Ravel. So I see somebody posting this where Ravel, we know it's a Ravel player. Ravel is a, let's do the Ravel thing. Ravel is a nomadic footballer, right? We'll do Greenwood afterward, Patrick. Ravel is a nomadic footballer who has jumped from team to team forever. Ravel has been praised as one of the best talent that ever come to England, but Ravel talent has never come to the fore as it should because Ravel has been challenged in a lot of ways, shape or form. Right? Now, I don't think, I said this yesterday, or the other day, I don't think I've ever seen a situation where a player who has not been a regular player for Jamaica, but is from the diaspora, who is in and out of the team, and people are calling for him on a regular basis. Like, it's not like it's one or two people, you know. If you have 20 people, 18, 19 want Ravel. You may have one person say, make Ravel go away and play Bush League. But most people are going to say, we want Ravel. And obviously, Ravel is playing over in the Middle East. He's not playing in a very high level. Obviously, where he's playing, he's doing well. I heard he got 10 goals and 11 assists or whatever it is. And he's he didn't help himself by saying Troy Deeney could come and be the star in the league when Troy is retired, when Troy interviewed him. But we know Ravel's quality. And I've always said this, when Ravel is in his rocking chair, he still can give us more than some of those YouTubers. Because, not YouTubers, sorry, as of some of the other midfielders, because Ravel has shown that he has a lot of attributes and quality, which a lot of people in football just doesn't have, not just the Jamaica team. His ability to find space, his ability to always have room to play, his ability to be never rushed. It's like Luka Doncic playing basketball. Play at their own pace, right? A player who plays at their own pace, and you can't rush him, and he has room, and he creates space for himself because he'll give you a little duke, and you don't even see that he gives you a duke and get you off balance to move someplace else. Ravel said, Kranky, Ravel said better. No, I wouldn't even use JPL. To me, he's probably still our best midfielder, frankly, to be honest. If I look across the spectrum of midfielders, whether it's Hayden, whether it's Palmer, I got to see more of Lewis Baker. He's coming to the team. Whether it's McCullough, whoever we want to put it there, whether it's McGee, Ravel's a better footballer. And so the question that, bless up Langsley Blake, the question that arises is, why isn't Ravel being called? And so whoever is in the press conference, because I don't think I'm going to be there Thursday. I think I'm traveling at the time. Whoever is going to be in the conference, we got to ask the question, but we don't want to ask the question by saying why Ravel's not in the squad. You need to preface the question with the comparative and then ask the question. Because look, the coach may not rate Ravel. The coach obviously can't see Ravel because he's playing a league which is not as well publicized. But we know what Ravel attributes are, what he brings to the team. The coach flew Ravel all the way from Middle East and didn't give him 1 second. Now, I'm sure I was told that Ravel didn't look well in training, XYZ. Some people are like Allen Iverson. They're not in the training thing. Dre anyway says, Kranky is baffling why the coach would select 60 players if they're not in it. But here's the thing, people. Let's be clear on this. There is no way in my mind the coach selected 60 players. None. Zero. The coach may have input into a lot of those players, and he may identify certain players like Antonio, who he spoke to. He ain't select no 60 players. He probably don't know half the players to select them. They might just tell you the JPL players ain't good enough. What do you mean he select 60 players? We have 24 JPL players. I thought it was 26. We have 24 JPL players in the squad. How come he's going to select players? There's no such thing, people. People can understand how these things work, you know. This is not rocket science. There is no way that coach selected 60 players. You cannot convince me. None. Zero. You think he know all them 24 JPL players to say we should choose A versus B and C versus D? Really? He may know Brown, who played for him the other day. You think he knows Fuller and some of those other players? You think he know the player from Racing? Really? We think he know those players. He's there watching Jamaica now in the semifinal. He wasn't there for the rest of the season. You think you've ever seen Racing play? What are we talking about, people? This concept or misconception that the coach is the one who picked the 60. First of all, Jamaica coach never picked 60 yet, because the people in my JFF always have some input about certain players being in the squad or being in the 60. There's no way you can tell me. And even Tapper, Tapper's ain't picking one team. Tapper have more chance to pick the 60, but Tapper probably wouldn't pick no overseas players, so Tapper don't pick the 60. Let me say this again, because Tapper don't talk about what I'm doing against Panama, you know. Tapper don't pick no overseas players, so Tapper don't pick no 60. And this coach can't pick no 60 because he hasn't put in the work that he should, that's required of him, to identify the JPA players who may matriculate to his team. He hasn't. And he probably doesn't care because he probably they're not good enough, as what he said the other day. I'm not going to say we're not going to make the World Cup because we're bringing in new people every day. And those of you who are talking about what's the cutoff, whatever the cutoff is for the World Cup squad, when we go to the World Cup, that's the cutoff. We don't have no cutoff. I didn't see that actually, but yeah. Ricardo says, I didn't go to the hey Jason, you're at the conference. Did the coach says Macy's coming in September? Jason Sguna says, when Emery came to interview for Arsenal, he had a dossier of all current academy players and plans for all of them to improve. That's what proper coaching. Yeah, Jason, we don't have to go to Emery because Emery was about 6 years ago, right? I thought they came in for Emery. I came in after Lungsberg, who did the interim thing. Pochettino did that for the US. Pochettino did that for the US. Good evening. Hello.
Yes, Kranky. Big up yourself.
How are you doing, 423? What do you have to say?
Doing good. Looking forward.
So we talk about Ravel now. So before you digress into other subjects, we talk about Ravel now. We're a team keeper. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not come to make a Ravel point, but
okay.
I'm saying I'm in good spirits for tomorrow. You know, going to Spain.
You going to Spain?
No, I'm kidding. Now it's no money for that team. But listen, before I get
you mean the relegation, the almost relegation side you talk about?
But before I get to the Ravel bit, I've never really understood the fascination with Mr. Michael Ricketts though. Listen,
Michael, you mean the president?
Yeah, you see,
you have to meet him. You have to meet him.
It's not about meeting him. It's more like as a fan.
But you say you don't understand the fascination. You have to meet him.
No, but listen, from the outside looking in, right?
Okay.
As somebody that loves the game of football, personally for me, in terms of what I look for in leadership, I don't think he's vocal enough in terms of for the federation in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? I just prefer a leader that's more vocal and upfront in terms of the plans and the goals of the federation, rather than like having, I don't want to say mouthpieces, but having, people kind of speak on his behalf to an extent. But other than that, right?
Right.
In terms of the Ravel point, I don't see the uproar with the Ravel thing. You know what I'm saying, Kranky? Because I can admit, we all know that in terms of the league that he plays in, it's not televised that much where like we can like easily, it's not accessible like some other leagues that we can watch him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I don't feel as if a lot of us, I don't think we're making a fair assessment about who Ravel Morrison is. I think sometimes we're going off the Ravel Morrison of old that we know compared to the Ravel Morrison of now that we know. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fair point, actually, because we haven't really seen him. Right?
Is it the case where the coach maybe had access to some games where he would have seen a Ravel Morrison?
4GG. You go too far now. I have cut you. You go too far now. Me and you know that now. Because here's why I know that. Because when he first came, Ravel didn't get called, and he wouldn't have had any clinking about any player. So he was making the decision then, and whoever did wasn't calling Ravel.
Yeah, but I'm saying for now, is it the case, right? Let's say that there's a possibility. Remember, McLaren has been a coach for over a decade plus, right?
Right.
So, me and you would have to, our assessment of a player, maybe we would have to watch a player for like 10 games to get a proper assessment, whereas a coach can maybe just see a player in 1 or 2 games and be like, you know what, I don't want him in my team. He's not fit for purpose because these are some areas in this game where I don't think it's fit for my system, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, I trust McLaren despite of me thinking maybe he's still not the guy for Jamaica, but I trust his expertise on assessing players. You know what I'm saying?
People, we're having some problems, people. Yesterday we had CC on, and I think he was being imitated and duplicated because he was making a lot of sense in terms of, and people text me and say, what happened to CC? What happened to CC? What happened to CC? Because he was very, very logical. Today, we are 433 who has beaten this coach to pulp actually supporting the coach. Where is 433? Where is he?
No,
Please tell him to come to the mic.
listen.
Let him come to the mic. Trust me. Come on the mic, 433.
So I'm saying, I trust him in that sense, in his expertise of how he goes about assessing players. You know what I'm saying? Ravel is 32 now. Really and truly, Kranky, you and I cannot sit on a public platform and say what level Ravel is playing at in comparison to like a MLS or a championship or AFL League 1 or League 2. Because
But 433, we're saying we don't care. Here's what we're saying.
But
Wait. Here's what you don't understand. You know, it's like Ronaldinho. Even today, him playing football and can running better everybody's on the field. Don't you realize that? Huh? Yes. There's no way Ravel can be worse than Jamaican players. None.
No, I'm not saying he's worse than the Jamaican players.
But they have 24 of them in the squad, the 60-man squad.
What I'm saying is, in the coach's eye, I trust him that maybe his assessment of the players that he is not fit for the system or is not fit for purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's it for? People, please clip this. 433 presser is saying he trusts his McLaren. Go back maybe a year ago and go watch some of 433 videos of McLaren. 433, I call you out enough.
I never say, I trust him to go bring us to the World Cup. You know, I'm saying.
What you trust him for? To make decisions about players?
I've never been a coach. You know what I'm saying? So I give him that respect in terms of being a coach, whether he's a coach or a roach. No disrespect, right? So whether he's good or not good, I still trust him in that aspect that he has gained more experience than me. I've never been a coach. I've never been coaches before, right? So in that sense, I respect him and give him that grace that he can make a proper assessment of a player. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And how I see the football, Kranky, Jamaica or the Reggae Boys, it has existed before Ravel and it will exist after Ravel. Let me ask you this question. If Ravel is in the team tomorrow, right? And we play, who is the team that is in the group, in the Gold Cup group? I can't remember the teams, honestly.
We have Panama, Guadeloupe, Guatemala.
All right. Let's say Panama, for example. How much of a difference can you say a Ravel Morrison can make against a Panama if he was in the team tomorrow, play Panama tomorrow? How much of a difference? Is he starting or is he coming off the bench? And if he's coming off the bench, is he a game changer?
Ravel is not a bench player, not on this team. Ravel, none of the midfielders get better than Ravel. I'm sorry.
I'm not saying that.
None of the midfielders are better than Ravel. None of them better. So he's a starter. He might play the 10. He might play the 8. He might play the 6. It don't matter. He might play. But that's my view. I mean, I change it. Come and see the midfielder already.
My view is that I cannot vote for someone who I have not seen play. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trusting the coach in that sense that he's the one that is going out there. I'm assuming he's doing his work. Obviously, I don't think he would have selected a whole group or a bunch of 60 players, right? I think there are some players in there that he would have wanted that, obviously those new players like maybe the Mother Seals of the world, etc., etc. He would have wanted some of those players there on the list, and then you'll have other group of players that is just on the list for on the list sake. You know what I'm saying? So for me,
he said some 43. So in these forums, a lot of these fans are passionate about the football. They know the football. We know that. Some of these people are like drink football 24/7 on every channel we talk about football, right? Most of these people are advocating for Ravel. You know why? Because they know quality when they see it. They're watching enough international football. They know some players have certain attributes. He exhibits all those attributes, and they have to realize that even if he's unfit and he can play 40 minutes, if he play 40 minutes versus somebody else, because he can add value. He can score goals. He can make a pass. People go back and watch some of the highlights of Ravel playing, and you see the pass where normal people can make outside of the foot, inside of the foot, pile a man, side of the man, make a pass, jockey, dip him shoulder, recognize danger when he sees it and get out of trouble, hesitate, go forward. All those attributes you want from a midfielder, he exhibits them, which a lot of our midfielders don't even have in their repertoire much as to exhibit them. That's a fact.
I think if you had a profile like a Ravel Morrison in that game against USA in the first leg, I think it was like this year or last year, whenever the case is. Remember when Casey Palmer played in that game? If we had a profile like a Ravel Morrison or similar, I think we could have won that game, because a couple of times Casey Palmer had chances on the court.
So how you going to know that? Then you had dispute. Then you had talk.
If you had like a profile, I'm saying.
Oh, a profile player. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm saying because I don't watch him, I cannot.
But we have that player. We don't need a profile. We have the player. Hey, I mean, press conference, me I beat the coach, but Ravel. Trust me. We can't wait. You know what? I'm not taking to the press conference. May I beat the coach, but Ravel.
I've never really had a football conversation where I just throw a player name out there that I've never seen and just make a case for him because this is what he did in the past. You know what I'm saying? I think it's unfair for football.
But you're informed by your past, though, and your present. He played in the Bush League. He's the MVP of the Bush League, right? Call it Bush League. He's the MVP, right? He's the best player in the league, voted by the coaches, right? which means he's doing something right. So if a Corner League is the best player, he's doing something right in the Bush League. And he might get paid well in the Bush League, even though over there they probably pay extra. But he's doing something right, correct?
What I will say in defense of Ravel, right? And this is where McLaren kind of told himself. I remember in a press conference, he did state that it doesn't matter where you're playing. Once you're performing, you're in the team. You know what I'm saying? So, unless he just not respect Ravel League or something.
Look, he said he knew him from Man U, which is not a good thing.
I mean, maybe he knows the talent of the player from United. I mean,
I think he knows the personality from Man U. I think he's not talented. It's his personality. He didn't give him 1 minute when he played the US, and we were desperate for him against the US. He didn't get 1 minute. Him flying, playing about $10,000, whatever number them pay, he not get 1 minute. Waste of money, waste of time, waste of effort.
Yeah, but listen, I think the team just have to perform regardless if Ravel is there or not. You know what I'm saying? Again, I trust the coach in a sense that his expertise over there. But I want to make a point now about this team, right, Kranky? You know, I was talking to somebody recently, and I think you have forces within the JFF. They want the team to succeed, you know, but they want the team to succeed with their, what I say now, not footprint, like their hands over the team. You know what I'm saying?
They want to get credit for the success, but they're not capable enough to get the team to be successful. Yeah. So they want the credit, they want to be involved, but their abilities may not match up to their aspirations.
Because I heard that you have individuals in the JFF who kind of ask whether or not they feel as if a player from like a certain league is better than a JPL player. You know what I'm saying? Which I find disrespectful in the sense that you shouldn't be asking that question in the sense that you are not the coach. You know what I'm saying? If your job is to seek this player or get this player over the line in terms of playing for the country, it should be within the coach's right as to whether or not he thinks this player from this league is good enough for the national team. You know what I'm saying? So I feel as if you have individuals within there that they're dragging their foot on certain issues, especially when it comes down to recruitment. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel as if we have to do better, you know? They said that in terms of Mother Africa, one of the countries that we kind of like derive ourselves from or whatever. It's like,
what do you mean? Africa is not a country. You stop saying that.
I mean, continent.
Just stop talking about other people who disrespect the people in place.
Not American them too much, you know.
Exactly. You know, their country.
So Ghana, for example, in the last decade or so, or since football existence, right? But the last decade or 15 years, we have seen the amount of wonderful talents that Ghana would have produced. You know what I'm saying? We could even go as far as to say that they produced talents that would be even world class or close to world class, Kranky. You know? And
they have produced world-class talent. Partey is world-class.
Yeah, example. I was thinking about him. So for me, you know, when you look at a country like that, when you look at countries like Japan, there's so many Japanese players that we can look at that even if they're not world-class, they're like at a certain level that they've played at the highest level that is well-respected, you know. And I think we have to look at these countries like the JFF and we should be following the blueprints of some of these countries. And even if you don't have the money to do certain stuff, but at least there's still a blueprint and you can like makeshift something or whatever, but at least you have a blueprint to put things in place so that we can, over the next 10 to 15 years, we have a grassroots program, we have an academy that we're producing players and, you know, players are leaving the Caribbean, leaving from an early age to go to different respective clubs or other academies in which they can develop, you know? So,
yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Until we do that, you know, whenever that is done, then we'll see a bit more better in the football because really and truly, we don't want, I'm not going to say we don't want to see players from overseas like heritage players in the national team. But we would also like that competitiveness where we're producing players locally that can go overseas, get in the team, which we have seen that before. And you have players that have heritage that can also challenge to play for the country as well, you know? So
No. Look, we want every person who have aspirations to play for the national team, regardless of where they reside, is given the resources, the support, and the guidance to allow them and enable them to maximize their ability. And if they qualify to play for the national team, they play for it. So if the national team is comprised of 24 JPL players, I have no problem with it, as long as they're good enough. And if it's 23 diaspora players, I have no problem with it, if they're good enough. I just want the best team on the field. I don't care where they live, where they were born, where they go from. So as a Jamaican citizen and they have a Jamaican passport, I want them in the team, the best players. And that's what we all should aspire for because we're one people. And dissecting us and bifurcating us and trying to make us separate and trying to get in between us and some of us buying into this nonsense is nonsense, basically.
Yeah, but that's all I wanted to say. You know,
I appreciate the call. By the way, you play tomorrow, don't you? Man United.
You're going to watch the game?
I'm going to watch a game. I'm going to watch a game.
Are you going to say I'm going to play tomorrow?
No, not. I'm going to play on Thursday. I'm going to watch a game. I want to watch a game, and I hope that the best team wins.
Yeah, you know which is the best team already.
I just hope the best team wins, whoever that team is.
Fair enough.
Both of you need it.
Yeah.
All right.
Big up.
Thanks for GG. Appreciate the call.
Yeah.
All right. That was Presser people. Presser is shocking me about the coach. Pressure beat that coach about anybody else me know. But then Pressure called the coach Fila one time, say him only have 1 win with 20 in, beat the coach bad. So what he said actually were things that if you look in hindsight made sense. I thought he was a little bit harsh, but that's Presser. I'm having views. But anyway, so let's finish up the Ravel thing. It's almost unanimous, the perspective on Ravel and the fact that people believe that Ravel should be in the national team. And I may not be at the press conference, I said people, but if whoever's in the press conference, some more calling out, what press conference we know? The only person I know that goes there regular is Jason Gooney, you know. Hey, Jason, Jason always asks this question anyway, but Jason is very nice. Jason, we have to be a little more brutal, Jason, with the question. The question, I need to put this coach on the spot. Because that's the only way you get when you put people on the spot, that's the only way you're going to get the answer that you're looking for, actually. Okay, if they don't answer it, it's going to be obvious. The fact of the matter is, we can say that Ravel has been Jamaica's best midfielder probably for the last, in terms of who play for Jamaica. Let me just be careful, I say. Most of it the last 7, 8 years, probably Jamaica's best midfielder. And he's been in and out of the team, not for his performances. And we haven't seen anybody has his attributes. And we have to know when we pick this team and when we have 24 JPA players, and he's basically indicated the other day that JPA players are not at the right quality, how come someone like Ravel doesn't get an opportunity to play when midfield is a position where we need help? That's the question. The question has to be prefaced in some way, shape, or form. It can't be that the question is just straightforward, why is Ravel not in the team? Because he needs to get some background information and some perspective that informs the question to make it where he can't wiggle out of it. Because if he said the JPA players are not good enough and he has 24, I don't even know how that works. You know what? That question probably should be asked too. He said on TVJ, when he was asked the question, the players are athletic, they're committed, they work hard, they run all day. But then he goes to talk about the teachings, which sort of infer quality and technical side and the learnings, and we're 10 to 15 years away. So how come some of these players can get into the team while some other diaspora players who have had that training that he suggested are not in the team? Those questions got to be asked, right? Those are fair questions. Don't you guys think so? Those are fair questions. Very fair questions. We're just using his own words. Anyway, so that was, we talked about the coach and his TVJ. I only have about, 30 minutes left. His TVJ situation, our comments, and our TVJ repackage it in certain things that Nagosa. We talked about Ravel and the fact that what seems to be a consensus, that even if Ravel is 40, he should be in the team. Somebody mentioned something about 33, because Ravel has been our best midfielder for a while now. Has been in and out of the team, and we don't know why that is. Now, we know he can be a challenging personality, but he has his passport, his citizenship, and he's a quality player, and he should be in the team. Drew says, I think for the occasion, Jason's question is always appropriate, Drew Ross. But something your question has to be cutting. I'm not criticizing Jason. You know. Jason always asks brilliant questions. But your question sometimes have to have an edge to it, to get what you're looking for. Because coach life will big lot of questions. Yes, Grand Jira, that question needs to be asked in some way, shape, or form, but with some background to it, to me, to inform the question. Can we just say, why is not in the team? He can say, I didn't pick him. I don't think he was at the level I needed. And that doesn't really do it, right? There got to be a way to reposition the question to get an answer, which makes sense for everyone and we can all buy into. Someone says Ravel getting a fight, so we not seeing his true potential, I guess. Wait till the 20-man, 6-man squad. Jamaica 4-man, wow. You know what's going to be interesting, people? That's a great point. Truth or truth. That we may have surprise in 26-man squad. Yeah, but I'm sure half the squad wasn't picked by McLaren. You probably pick the players who him know, and somebody else pick the rest of them. So no shouldn't just blame McClaren and blame other people. So Chris Smith is always beating the DJ drum. He said, what about DJ who just have a wonderful season and can't make a 60-man squad? Remember, Cephas and DJ play in the same league. DJ, let me say some people. I'm going to use more colloquial language. Excuse me, I'm going to really curse. DG and Ravel piss off the wrong person. Must be. That's me speculate now. DG and Ravel get on the wrong side of the wrong person. That has to be it. Because you're right, Chris. We haven't seen DJ in forever. And if he had the scenes you mentioned in Turkey, I haven't watched him, and he got no call, given the 60 players, then I heard that before. Or maybe the coach don't rate him. I get a sense that the coach don't rate him either. Right? Yeah, but they play a different position, Chris. They're talking about Ravel is 32. How old is Messi? Before the game, says Steve McClaren, 2024, described Ravel as my type of player. And he's instructing him now. What changed? Don't tell the man a general star. No, listen. No, you listen to me now. The man a general. But use the term the man a general. Like we tease Dennis about him a 3-card man. Dennis is not 3-card man. Sometimes Dennis information don't align with what somebody else say. I don't believe the other person. Dennis is the 3-card man. We are the real 3-card man. We are the real 3-card man now. Confused 3-card man. Bamboos on the head and confused, you know. God knows I want to get a chance. I know it wouldn't end well after 2 games. I predict the fans to do him worse than McGee. That would never happen with Ravel. First of all, people don't compare Ravel and McGee. No, do that. That's a disrespect. Me not disrespect McGee, but whenever you want to talk about Ravel, McGee are the best talent I ever see, except people in Jamaica. I talk about world-class coaches and world-class players. Talk about the Ravel like best player they ever see, and Ravel is unbelievable. And they can now look at Ravel background and see what people say about Ravel. Ravel have skill sets when nobody in football. I'm saying nobody, but a lot of people in football don't have. You can't teach it. It's almost innate set of skill set, which then gets complemented, or get expanded, or get enhanced by the training is received at the highest level. You know what Ferguson said about Ravel. You think Ferguson just come on and say Ferguson's comment about Ravel? Similar to his comment about Greenwood or not. That's why you see me I push the Greenwood thing, so you know. Greenwood scored a goal last weekend. Go look on the goal. It's like what Mamouche scored today. Everybody say Mamouche goal is almost probably the best goal in the Premier League. Go look at the one Greenwood scored. We talk about Mamouche from Man City goal he scored today against Bournemouth, and they say it's probably one of the goal of the season. Go look at the goal scored by Greenwood the other day when he played for Marseille. And that's the person the coach talked about, right? The coach Ferguson talked about his ability and somebody could be world class. That's why he may have pushed for Greenwood. Coming at the team, we're in a much better place. So long as he don't get injured, much better place. No, the coach shifted, man. The coach, I was talking about something, and then you check it out. As before the game says, Ravel is time of player, and we can't. You know, give Ravel 2 minutes against the US. When we're getting killed in the midfield, we can't hold on to the ball. People out there are lost. And if a player who have the ability to hold the ball, I'm not giving a game. Now, I was told that Ravel didn't look well in training. I don't know what that means, actually, because he might fly from the Middle East. He's probably tired as hell. You know, I've been on that journey. It's not a good journey. It's a long journey. And getting last minute call up. So, yeah. So, Kranky, tell me I'll play a good game like DJ for Jamaica in the last Gold Cup. We all could see the difference when DJ came off the bench. No, I'm not the biggest DJ advocate. Now I'm the biggest DJ critic, right? I push for players who I think are difference makers. I think Ravel is a difference maker. I think Greenwood is a difference maker. I think I don't even push for Antonio that much, and I get beaten from like Saudi about Antonio. I see certain players who have certain skill sets, which you can't teach, you can't buy. They just have it. Those skill sets can get better because people help them to get better, but some things you can't really teach. So I'm not here thinking about every single player and what they can do. I'm thinking about those players who you make allowances for because they're just that good. But we gotta stop talking about Ravel because he's not come. But we won't stop talking about Ravel until we get explanation as to why Ravel is not in the 60-man squad. You can't convince me that we have 60 players in Jamaica better than Ravel ever, meaning play for Jamaica, not in Jamaica. Because a lot of them are diaspora players that they play overseas, they're locally born. You can't convince me that Jamaica Ravel is the 61st player. You can't convince me because I've seen them all play. Not all, but most of them play. I've seen most of them play. Right? You can't convince me. All right, let's go on to this player. So we almost done, people. We have about 20 minutes left. The Greenwood saga is just getting more and more confusing. Good night. Who am I speaking to?
This is Lansley Adolphe, pastor.
Lansley Bate. I know you like to talk. We only got 15 minutes left. I'm gonna give you 7 of it. And you talk low and you like talk low. You get talk low. You know fit you. No.
The mic was not.
Oh, okay. All right. Mike,
close
but I
to
mean,
me.
you say you talk. Yes.
Yes. I called in because I hear people talking about what the coach had said about Ravel Morrison as against what the coach has done about Ravel Morrison in our 60-man squad. When I said before that the coach, since his first press conference, has made himself a liar, whether for the JFF or otherwise, I am not going to say. I don't think I know the answer to that, his reason for making himself an international liar. People took me to task that I should not say that. But every single press conference since the first press conference that he did, I can point out occasions where the coach has made politically correct, challenged statements as it relates to truth. Now,
So does that mean he lies?
continuously
Okay.
and seemingly effortlessly, he lies. And I am not going to speak to why he lies. He lies. And it is full time for those persons who consider themselves media practitioners to ask the coach the questions in line with statements the coach has made. Because unless you do that, he will continue to lie unchecked. He gets questions every time he goes to a press conference that gives him the opportunity to tell us a new lie. There is no way that the coach is going to convince me that he wants to play the brand of football where you retain the ball. When Jamaica's I believe Casey Palmer has the ability to retain the ball in the midfield, but Casey Palmer has always been playing cagey because he's always coming back from injury. So we have never gotten to see the best of Casey Palmer because he's never sure of himself because of him being so injury prone. Our 2 best ball retention, McLaren has not selected them when he got the opportunity to select a 60-man pool. And you're talking about you want to retain ball. Who will retain the ball? The JPL midfielders? Those are who gonna retain the ball. Retain the ball against who? We're going to be playing in Gold Cup and World Cup qualification against Mount Pleasant and Tivoli and Arnett. That's what we're going to be playing. I keep trying. JD always say you must give him grace. I keep trying to find a way to give him grace, But if I am supposed to take his credentials at value, there is no way you attain what McLaren CV says he has attained. And he does all of these stupidness. Stop lying to the people. Because every decision he has taken has proven how lie he is. Nothing that the man is doing is making any sense. He's in England. He's in England. And if you cannot undo what Marion Garden do to Omari Hutchinson, you should not have taken the job.
So let me stop you, Pastor. Things said by guests on my show are the words and perspective of those individuals and not of the Kranky live show. That's a disclaimer. Go ahead, Pastor.
Yes. Yes. These are my words. How are you the quality coach you purport yourself to be? And you're going to start Omari Hutchinson, and I believe, I hope Devon Porter is somewhere listening or will watch this. Devon, please go talk to Hutchinson. We need Hutchinson in the midfield. Or at the top of the midfield. Let him know that he's not every Jamaican is like the JFF. So he must come despite them. Publicly state that you are ready for the call now, Omar Ray Hutchinson, and make them not select you. They need to stop these lies. There's no way Daniel Johnson and Ravel Morrison don't make a 60-man Jamaica squad. By the way, there's no way Gray don't make a 60-man squad. How the hell you gonna have? So you're ending people's career saying that their age is X, so they cannot play for the team because they are X age. You determine, despite them playing in higher league than the JPL and doing what coaches are satisfied with them doing.
Pastor, you have 2 more minutes, Pastor. You have 2 more minutes. You have to wrap up.
Okay. That's one. The next thing is, there is a goalkeeper that McLaren stated because his club needed him, because of the injuries they sustained, he spoke to Connor Boyce Clark. And Connor Boyce Clark, that's why they didn't select him, Connor Boyce Clark. How then do you, McLaren, put out a 60-man squad without Connor Boyce Clark?
That's a fair question. That's a fair question.
With no explanation.
And I was also informed that, wasn't I informed that the goalkeeper Mount Pleasant, that Shaquan is no longer the number 1 keeper? Did someone say that the other day? I think someone mentioned that.
I don't know if he's no longer the number 1 keeper. I know that the semifinals that was played, he was on the bench.
Okay. Okay.
So I can't say who is the number 1. I don't speak to Tapper. Same like how Tapper never speak to the diaspora players. I don't speak to Tapper.
I think Connor Boyce may be involved in the Unity Cup, isn't he? So we'll know. We'll find out Thursday anyway.
Kranky.
Yeah.
Listen to what I am saying.
No, I heard you.
No. Listen to what I am saying. The Gold Cup 60-man squad has to be the precursor to the World Cup qualifying squad.
Yeah, but I mean, we have a quota system, right? So certain positions are going to be reserved for certain players.
Again, I am going to say Steve McClaren is the biggest liar in Jamaica, and we have some terrible politician down there, you know.
Yeah, go on. No, bring up a pastor, but the politics thing to pass me run from them thing then a pastor. No say not but no politician. Me have to go back to Jamaica. Me no want no comment pastor. Me cut you off, Mr. Pastor. No mention no politics from this program.
Internationally known as liars.
No, pastor, pastor, you have 30 seconds left. Because me can't deal with it. Pastor, me I run from it. Me I run from the politics. Me know in it, pastor. Me know in it.
Good.
There are some dark people at Jamaica when it comes to the politics thing. Me know in it, politics thing.
Yes,
spread out like poison.
Well, hear what I am saying for my final few moments.
You have 10 seconds left, pastor.
For my final few moments, I am praying for the day when the football administration in Jamaica decide to do the right thing. which is what is best for the country's football and not for their individual pockets.
All right, Pastor. We appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks, Pastor. Pastor is making the assumption that some people understand what's best for the football. And by the way, things in this program by Pastor or any other guest, including recent 433, are the views and perspective of those individuals and may not necessarily be those of the Kranky Live broadcast. I will say this. I don't touch politics in Jamaica. I'm not even do show up on politics. I stay from it because it can be very dark. I mean, I dark things. See? So we don't touch politics. So we don't want the politics analogy because it can be very, very toxic. But let me say this, that the whole thing with Ravel is very frustrating for people. You know, when fans almost unanimously say this player should be in the team and then the player is not in there, it disappoints the fans, especially a lot of fans who are very knowledgeable and follow the football closely. So we can't just say because the coach don't pick his team that fit his mold that we don't have a view and a say and a perspective as to whether that's appropriate or that's okay. Right? I don't agree with that. I think fans are a lot of time the lifeblood of a team. And that's why you see fans in Europe, and if you look at the English league, for example, are very influential, who we think killed the whole Big Six thing, or the league we're going to have in Europe, where the Big Six from the EPL was going to go on some branch off leave and replace the Champions League, and fans shut that down. Media was involved too, but fans shut that down. Good night. We have 50 more minutes of the program, so you have 5 minutes. Good evening, Jeremy.
Good evening. Why is the hard man to catch?
Hard man to catch? What do you mean? I'm here.
No, man. I always work on the program, boy, you know?
Okay.
So let me just get to, you know?
All right.
I tell you, man, the space lead, you know? Now, I wish it could be a show 7 days a week. I know it's consuming. There's the stuff them that you have put out, you know? This is the kind of stuff you put out. No controversy. You're putting out facts. I know you do your homework and the research before you come out. And sometimes when you say some stuff, you go back and look and do the research. And the stuff that you are saying is damaging. And I know those people are listening. You know? And, you know, I'm just saying to you, just keep on doing what you're doing, man, because it's something when you export and you put out there. I know you can't give your sources up. That I was debating with a person the other day who think that, and I said, you know, Mr. Kranky, you speak highly of Michael Wickett, very highly of him. And there's the stuff that's going on around him, you know? And I just want that some people can wake up and see. You have said something in the past about it will never get better because of how some people are, if they want something from a certain person, they will not talk about that person because they're affiliated on that. I'm talking certain journalists.
Right.
They won't say it because, you know what I mean, they want something, so they keep quiet.
Right.
And that's one of the problems right there. See something, say something. But they won't speak the truth because if they speak the truth, they will not get a press conference, they will not get a job, they will not get this. Same stuff for certain coaches. If they say something again, you know, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna, you know, call names or anything like that. They won't get a job. And it's sad. And it's sad that if you put them own interest in front of the nation. And I'll tell you this situation was here before me and you, and we're gonna leave this football the same situation. But I like what you're doing. You know, you educate us, you try to find out some stuff to us. And frankly, it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, but keep on doing what you're doing, brother. Don't make them discourage you. All right?
All right, so I appreciate the call. So I appreciate the call. So that was Jeremy people with a very supportive call, and I do appreciate it. Let me say something. The concept of people doing things for their own good is not unique to Jamaica. If I look in the US and look at Trump's, the Congress and the Supreme Court, they're all doing things for their own good. The country comes second. So most of the politicians may not agree with Trump, but because it can affect their ability to get reelected, they're going to support his initiatives. They're going to support the nonsense that he does. They're going to support undemocratic stuff. It's no different in Jamaica a lot of times. I always tell people to focus on the individual first. But I don't think you should focus on the individual in times. If you're in the public domain, you're in a public office, for example, you've been elected by the people, or you're in an organization which is quasi-public like the JFF, you have a public responsibility, and you're doing some things at the expense of the country and of others just for yourself. So let me give you an example. For people who say, I don't like what Kranky doing, is to criticize too much. Let me say this. There are people in the JFF who support what I'm doing. So I ain't going to beat everyone in the JFF. There are some people in the JFF who basically says to me, do what you do. You will give flowers when flowers should be given, and you will criticize when you criticize. Do what you do. There are people in the JFF who says that. And there are some people in the JFF who can't stand a bone in my body, as I'm saying in Jamaica. Right? That happens in life. There's some people who like transparency, who like you to speak truth to power, and who respect that. And they may not like the fact that you criticize them. And I had this discussion with Damien Lowe before, actually, because I interviewed Damien on Management Channel way back when. And when I was in Dallas, I said, Damien, let's take a picture. You may not want to take a picture with me to come and criticize you. I said, what are you talking about, my youth? No nonsense that. You have to do what you do, basically. Which is, you have to do what you do. So long as you're fair in your assessment, so long as you're giving flowers and flowers is due, and you want to criticize when you criticize because you have a certain perspective, and you're not exaggerating the truth, or you're not distributing falsehoods, some people have no problem with it. Other people take it personal, right? Because sometimes the criticism is penetrative, the criticism cut deep, and they may not like the exposure that they're getting, which is negative. And that I understand also, because I probably wouldn't like it either. But I'm going to do what I consider to be my job, because my objective is for us to get the best product on the field to allow us to be successful. And I'm going to be vigilant in that endeavor in trying to achieve that objective. And I can't satisfy everybody's view about whether or not they're supportive of me and what I do, because I'm going to do what I believe is right. I don't believe in living in this alternative universe where lies become truth and truth becomes lies and all that. I'm not into that world. I grew up in a world where we know the lie when we see it. We know the truth when we see it. We know good when we see it. We know bad when we see it. We know integrity. We know credibility. We know those things that are under the umbrella of good. And we know what's under the umbrella of bad. And I'm not going to be on the bad side, because I don't think that's right for a human being in this society. So my hope is that people appreciate what many YouTubers are doing and give them flowers. And you got to also hold us accountable. If I'm in the YouTube space and other in the space and we're not doing things the right way, we got to be held accountable. Just like we want some credit when, like I just got, when some people think we're doing a good job. Not everybody going to agree with us. A lot of people are going to disagree with us, right? And that's their prerogative. I keep saying this, we don't live in a monolithic society or in Russia where you have to have one view or else, there's repercussions. In a society where you have your own opinion. Your opinion may not be of the majority, maybe the minority, but it may be the better opinion than those in the majority. It may be a more thoughtful perspective that doesn't get appreciated and doesn't get the credit it deserves. So we all come here, we have a view, we expound our view, we provide our view, and hopefully we are also very respectful about how we do so. Now I would take some beating by saying, yes, sometimes I call people names because I get frustrated, like Conflict's boss. I'm not really want to take that back, because if you're conflicted, and you tell people, conflicted, you're the least conflicted person in Jamaica, we're not buying the nonsense. We're not buying the nonsense. That's nonsense. We're not doing that. What we want is for you to look, and it always go back to Rudolph in some way, shape, or form, because he runs the technical committee. He's done a great job with Cavaliers. That cannot be disputed, given what they have accomplished in Jamaica's football. But we are global in who we are as a people and how we operate. And our football is not globally presentable. It's just not. The coach just told us that when he got interviewed by TVJ. So how do we, as fans and stakeholders, influence direction of travel and push to get us to do the right thing? As the coach said, which I didn't like, but which is a fact. If you start now, it's 10 to 15 years. And I think starting now is basically, to me, you have all the requirements you have to effectuate and implement and put in place the programs in all aspects, right? Infrastructure, money, coaching, whatever it's entailed in the football, to start getting to that 10, 15-year window. So people like myself not going to see it. But at least we want to be part of the journey and help to influence that, to make sure those who come behind us are seeing that and are going to experience it and can benefit from it and can feel good about it. That's important. But anyway, I'm running out of time, people. I have about 5 minutes left. And I'll say this, which is this. My objective is not to create dissension and create problems for anybody else. Well, I shouldn't say that. If what I say creates problem, so be it. because I'm trying to do truth to power, and I'll come here and try to exaggerate and say wrong things. Let's go back to Greenwood. I'm gonna finish the evening off with Greenwood because I gotta hang out with my nephew. It was extremely important to me. It's family time. But I'll say this. I've been given so much information on Greenwood. I thought let me tell you something. The plan to come to Jamaica now. Come say Greenwood there. Information we get, it wasn't definitive. It was probably 50-50 more come. I'm gonna say, you know what, I'm gonna watch a game because if Greenwood there, I can't watch Greenwood because there's certain world-class talent you know in football. When you see it, you know it. And you want to experience it. Right? And then to see he's not in the 60-man squad, because I was told it wasn't definitive, but it's a possibility, probably not a probability, but I was hopeful. Then someone sent me this video yesterday, which was hard to watch. And I'm not even sure if it's true or if it's AI, which says he has made his mind up yet. It's my understanding his mind has been made up. Let me say that. It's my understanding his mind has been made up. It's my understanding that a number of players are coming in September. So we just bring in 7. More players are coming. I expect minimum 3 players in September in addition to the 7. And it could be more than 7. It could be more than 3, actually. But I expect 3 to come in. And I want to see what the 3 is. And if they don't come in, okay. I expect 3 to come in for end of the year and by September. We have to understand this because sometimes we complain or we get upset. I tried to explain the PICA process yesterday, the citizenship and passport process yesterday. It's not an easy process. I keep saying to people that some players take 2 years and 3 years and a year to get their papers. Because when they go to London, put the papers at London. And by the way, people, let me just say this. Those of you, whether you're a footballer or not, if you're an athlete, if you're whoever you are, if you're in the US, you can go up to where are they now? In 40-something Street. They were at 3rd Avenue. Put your papers in, it works. Maybe the distance between Jamaica is not that bad. If you're in the UK, I would suggest you fly to Jamaica if you can afford it and put your papers in. Don't put them in a London office. Don't put them at the Consul General in London. Because look, let me get lost in my journey. Then put them in there and then just disappear. That seemed to happen to some players. That seemed to happen to some people. So my suggestion, if you're in London, if you go to Jamaica, it takes no time. Put your papers in. So long as they're in order, make sure you check with somebody who have the knowledge and the expertise to know what's required. You can read through the form that I put up yesterday, but you want to make sure somebody who's an expert go over the form before you make that journey. Go to Jamaica and get your citizenship. Right? Go to Jamaica and get your citizenship. Don't put that Consul General in London because you're not sure it all got completed. But it's important for us to recognize that it's not always the player's fault, or it's not always PICA's fault, or it's not always JFF fault. In fact, most times it's not JFF fault per se, but JFF can do more. JFF doesn't do enough for me about naturalization. Whether that's deliberate or not, I don't know, but they don't do enough. My understanding, they don't do enough. Them setting up a separate person who has that mandate and that goal, and then working with someone specific or special, they need to go revisit the process of naturalization, period, as it relates to, say, footballers, both women's and men's team. Because you heard me ask Busby the question the other day, and there's a reason why I asked that question. Give what I know. They need to change the process about how it operates now with the JFF. JFF, you need help, JFF. I'm going to tell you, JFF, you need help. You may not realize, but you need help, JFF. Here's the last one I'm going to go out with. People keep saying to me, Kranky, you said the president, nice, but. Look, I had the opportunity to meet the president. Maybe once or twice. Maybe it was once I met him. But I keep telling people, there are some people you meet in life and you can't help but like them because they just come across as just good people. So imagine meeting your grandfather. He sees you, you criticize him, and he smiles and he gives you a hug and he say, "What I say? Hey, how you doing, man? Blah, blah, blah." And you sit there thinking, I just criticized your butt the other day. What were you taking it personal? And he's smiling, and you watch him not only with yourself, with others, and you realize he's genuine. He ain't putting on nothing. That's who he is. Those people you can't help but like. Now, if you assess his performance, he's got to do better. Let's be frank, he's got to do better. He allows something to manifest himself and to fester and to happen, which has to change. You can't keep on the same path, Mr. President. Because at the end of the day, your legacy is affected. The football, quality-wise and technically in Jamaica, has not improved to the level it should, given where we are. Understand, we're going drops. We're improving the coaching. We're doing this. And we don't even know if that's going to work. There has to be more done. And then your best person in your organization that's only been here for 3 years is leaving, which is concerning. Now, you did a good job with people like Simon, for example, running your media, and he's very professional nowadays. But it's concerning that your person who's running your finance department, probably the second most important, maybe the most important place in your organization because it affects the football directly, so it's most important, he's leaving. Where is that standard barrier? Where is that person who is the adult in the room? Where is that professional? Where is that person that has all the attributes you want in a leader? Where is that leader you're going to have that's going to be able to stand up to pressure and pushback and scrutiny and not be able to face the public? Who is going to be that person? It's amazing. But hopefully, Mr. President, you figure it out. Because I do think, Mr. President, you have some challenge which you haven't addressed, which you need to address. Doesn't change how I feel about the president. Can't help but like the man. Right? Can't help but like the man. The man just come across a certain way where some people have the charisma. He has excellent, brilliant charisma, and it works really well. But he has to be called out because he's got to do better. We can't maintain the status quo. So anyway, let me close up by saying, so Kranky, you changing? I have no information that's agreed to change his mind. I know on some interview, somebody he said he's not made his mind up yet. It's my understanding from a very reliable source. Now, sources, as I said before, may be given wrong information by the parties who they're talking to. So let's say the source talked to Greenwood or Greenwood's family or his agent, whoever it is, and they give him certain information, but it's managed information, then the source would only know that, right? But whatever source I'm talking to, that source basically has informed me that Greenwood wants to play for Jamaica. That's what I know. Now, I've talked to multiple sources, by the way. Some sources I talk to will say, I think he wants to play, right? Some sources will say, I think he's on the fence a little bit because he has some aspiration for England. I would say this to Greenwood. In language, he probably should understand because he has Jamaican heritage. You're not playing for England again. You may play in England again, but you're not playing for England. There's a difference. Now, we did hear the English FA come on and say he asked to change allegiance, right? And if they change allegiance, you can't really change back because him changed one already. But we'll see what happens. Let's hope he's here by the end of the year. Maybe I'll push it back from September. There are two other players I know of. One who's dying to play for Jamaica, and one who is sort of on the fence, but I think he's been pushed in the right direction. So out of the three of them, I think two of them will come through. Greenwood one, we'll see what happens, but it's not definitive. But Greenwood is worth the wait, people. There are some people, when you have we should use that analogy now. You have a girl who you check for, and she gives some like a green light, and you wait. I say, go. We can't wait for Greenwood. Me patient enough. We get frustrated like everybody else, but I'm patient enough saying, you know what? If he comes, and he comes at a good time, then he's going to be that quality and that value that we need. Nowadays, a Kranky couldn't leave a Spanish one. We feed with enemies and laugh with them before. Boy, I gotta tell you though. Nowadays, Superiority says Greenwood might change his mind if he watch some of these YouTubers because of how bad they speak about him. Yeah, but Greenwood also knows that if you're in the public domain and public business, you're gonna get criticized severely. And this criticism is more about disappointment than anything else. All right? Let me do 40 game as the last one. 40 game says, to ensure Jamaica qualify for the World Cup, I recommend the people get behind whatever true team is scheduled and provide a great environment around the team. The list of 60 will not change. Well, the 60 for the Gold Cup won't change, but we have World Cup qualifiers subsequent to the next two games when we go in the final round. All right? What the hell is it? What did I press now? All right. And Tougher Rudy said, Green might change his mind if he was something. No, that's not one. Dre said, Green is a world-class player. We agree with that. Man has what? 20-something goal contributions in just over 30 games in a very good league. Man is quality. So anyway, people, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Hope you have a wonderful evening. Hope you enjoyed the show. So on your way out, if you hit the like button, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you like the video and you think others should watch the video, please share the video. And I will see you when I see you. And Paper says, a Kranky, I would like to do a show on how young professionals can climb the ladder in finance. All right, paper. A paper, link me. We will talk about that. I'll do that actually. I'll do that. It's very important actually. So I have been doing a lot of these more social conscious matters paper, but not just for finance. I'm going to do it for finance, but I'm going to do it in the context of how people can climb the ladder, just period, right? What you need to do, skills that you need to exhibit, and may have to use finance as the example to walk them to what they need to do. I do mentor some people who are either in those fields or have aspirations to be in those fields, and it's really interesting conversations. What I meet with every Tuesday at a certain time for the last 2 years, and it's a really good conversation. I enjoy the conversation with young people who have aspirations to do well in corporate, and they have the desire, and they just want some guidance or some know-how about how the process works. So great point, paper, and I'll try to do that. All right, everyone, keep safe, be good, peace out. Thanks. Kranky life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk, and it's free, yo. Kranky life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Kranky life, tell them. Kranky life, heed them. Kranky life, want them. Kranky life. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose because Kranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Kranky life, tell them. Kranky life, heed them. Kranky life, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Kranky life, get to know the name because Kranky analysis is never lame. Kranky life, give me my Kranky life. I want my Kranky life. Must have my Kranky life. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Kranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat, and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Kranky life. Tell them, Kranky life. Heed them, Kranky life. Want them, Kranky life. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Kranky Live. Tune into Kranky Live. Like up Kranky Live. Subscribe to Kranky Live. Kranky Live coming to you on weekdays. Kranky Live sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because Kranky will always bring the heat. Kranky Live. Me say fi tell them Kranky life. Me say fi heed them Kranky life. On them Kranky life. Kranky life will be around. Kranky life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them. Me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them. Want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life. Heed them. Want them. Heed them. Want them, Kranky life. Kranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Kranky life. Kranky life. Kranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed, want, heed them.